Alrighty everyone, welcome back to Bronco Wild Outdoors. I decided to walk up the hill a little bit out here on the ranch at Bronco Off Roadeo and see what this little approach looks like, headed from one of the trails down to where we're doing a recovery exercise, how to properly recover your Bronco or your friend's Jeep or whatever when you're out off-roading. So there's a right way to do everything. It's pretty awesome where we get to see recovery in progress.
So the strap's fine and dandy. Are we going to equip our Broncos with winches back? Yeah, you can. There's different levels to winching. Requires a little bit of knowledge and know-how that you can take, week-long recovery classes. You can read books on recovery. There's a lot of math that goes into it to understand what kind of like mire depth and how much pulling force you need to pull a vehicle out of whatever it's stuck in, or what it is stuck on. So that being said, mire depth, again, is very basic level. If your Bronco is in mud, we'll just use mud as our common denominator. If that mud is even with the hub of that wheel, okay, the center point of that wheel, you can multiply it times 1. So the amount of pulling force required is equal to the weight of that Bronco. Okay. Now the second you come up above the tires, okay, if you are floating in this range here, above the tire but below that fender line, you can multiply it by 2, okay? Because now you've got a lot more dragging underneath you. You're dragging control arms, axles, differentials. You're dragging all of that through the mud as well. So you multiply it by 2. Now if you're up above the fender, okay, and kind of close to the hood here, you multiply it by 3. All right, so you can see how that weight just kind of keeps compounding. Well, the problem is that maybe I've only got a 10,000 pound winch, okay? Well, if I start multiplying by 3 with my Bronco, how do I accomplish that and get that much pulling effect out of my winch when I have to multiply by 3 for my Bronco? How do I do that?
Snatch block.
Use a snatch block, okay? So we can pass this guy around. So that's part of the snatch block that comes with it. Rule of thumb, if I rig what's called a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1, I can multiply by 2 my line pull, okay? Now with that, if I unspool my winch all the way out, okay, I don't get the max effect of my my capacity. Okay, I need to leave about 2 or 3 wraps on the winch to actually get the full pulling force. Now if I only pull out, 10 feet of my 100-foot cable, I'm only getting 10% of that pulling power. Does that make sense? I know it's a lot of math, but as I start winding back and forth using different snatch blocks, I can then double or triple my pulling power, okay, to a degree. Now there's other factors that play into it. We're not gonna dive super into the weeds with it here, but using a snatch block, you can generally double the pulling strength of your winch. Okay?
Is that the same for synthetic versus
yes,
steel?
It is. Now with synthetic versus steel, okay, steel is durable, all right, but if it gets bent or frayed, that's when you start cracking into the durability of that line. Same applies with synthetic. You see that black slider on that line there? So generally if you have a synthetic line that's scraping over rocks, you want to put that slider, because 90% of the winches will have that on that line. They'll have some kind of slider there, that sleeve to protect it. You want to place that where it's going to have the most friction, okay? That's going to protect that. Now you're probably thinking about line breaking, right? So a steel line and synthetic line. Most of the industry is going towards synthetic because it is generally safer, and with the the materials they're using these days, they're generally pretty strong. If it breaks, okay, if a steel cable breaks, it will whip. It will absolutely whip around. I've personally seen them snap and cut through about 5 aspen trees that were 3-4 inches in diameter. So it will whip. And not only does it whip, it will unwind and kind of give you that cat of nine tails effect. So you generally want to stay pretty far away. On that, how far away should I be from my line in use?
The length of the line.
So if my line, if I've got 25 feet of line out, do you want to stand 25 feet away?
26.
I would say at least double the line in use. You're really just riding the light in it down. You know what? Bring it. But twice the line in use. So if it's 25 feet of cable out, I want to be 50 feet away. All right. And if you got kids, throw those suckers 75 feet away. Okay, because they pop out of nowhere. But that one will absolutely whip and clear. It'll weed whack everything in its path. A synthetic line. The common misconception is that synthetic line, when it breaks, it just drops. It does not just drop. Okay, it will absolutely whip. It's not carrying as nearly the amount of kinetic energy or force that a steel line is, but it's also not going to hurt as bad if it hits you, and you'll probably survive it. But the same rule applies. If I got 25 feet out, I want to be 50 feet away. All right.
So that bead lock will actually hold that edge of that tire to the edge of the wheel so we don't lose any air. But most guys running bead locks, they'll wheel about 6 to 8 feet. Oh yeah, like we said, you don't have that much room. Absolutely, you could double it up and roll it up through one of those slips in the back. So, you know, everything we look at those is making sure that your stuff's going to last. It's going to be rated. It's going to work for what you need it to do. We just don't want to have something bad happen, right? So if we're using, and we see in the oil field industry all the time too, is you don't have the right equipment and maybe you got to lift something and something breaks, the strap breaks and kill somebody, like bad news. So that's our hesitancy, and you know, just to make sure that we're using things the proper way. We're gonna make them last a long time. So now looking up on that end, how are we gonna attach to that Bronco? Got that soft check and stuff. Oh, there we go. All right, you got it, Mike?
It's like a Chinese finger trap.
You're so good at arts and crafts. Double back on the strap as well.
Double back to again.
Yeah, you could loop the strap around and pull in the middle if you needed to.
Almost too tight on that one.
No, you don't need to double back on that. You just stick the loop right through the end there. Yep. And so then it chokes. So here, I'll show you.
You're talking about doing two lines to flip it, correct?
So with this one, when you pull against the knot,
Put the strap through your
on your
shackle
soft
or your
shackle,
loop,
Yeah.
and then coming back.
you want to pull to where this is going to try and pull.
You could.
The rope
The
that way.
problem with that
Generally,
is that this
set it up like that. So that way it's trying to
is
force
not
that.
braided the same as this.
Everyone, thanks for watching this video, and Gavin's going to tell you the rest.
Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Smash it. Smash subscribe. And smash the like button.
Just smash it.
Ah!
More great videos coming up. See ya.
See ya.